All right, thank you everybody for joining us again today. We are very lucky to have an amazing person with us. Kendall Bonner, if you don't know who she is, team lead, brokerage owner, amazing human. Kendall, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Matt and Jody. I'm happy to be here. This is exciting.
That's great to have you.
Thank you.
You know, I think I first got to know you either through some Remax stuff or some Inman stuff. And I think that's just a testament to how you're everywhere and you're doing so many different things, and it's really cool. So we're really excited to have you.
Thank you.
I have to, carry on. Sorry, carry on.
Oh, no, I was just going to say thank you. It's been fun. And I mean, I definitely feel like Remax opened a lot of doors for me. And I did start with Remax and doing stuff with them. And then it opened up other opportunities and, you know, with other media outlets like Inman and Real Trends and RIS Media and then even just like the news. And, you know, I mean, it's been really a wild ride. So
you're reading your bio for me, basically.
Oh, so no, but it is kind of crazy.
Let me rip through the bio real quick. I'll try and I've kind of taken it and then let's try to slim it down just to save some time. I know we have a limited amount of time because you are busy. So Kendall Bonner is an accomplished leader, entrepreneur, motivational speaker. She is a Florida licensed attorney in good standing since 2003, started as a realtor in 2011, and then opened your own brokerage in 2014. Mm-hmm. So cool. Today, you're the broker owner of Capital City Realty, team lead of the Kendall Bonner team, and 3 locations. In addition to being a lawyer, she is also a multi-business owner, national speaker for R4, so for Remax, doing both R4 and the Brokers Owners Conference, so BOC, as well as a speaker, MC, moderator, and contributing columnist for Inman News. You spoke at the Real Trends Gathering of Eagles in 2022, authored and co-authored numerous books. But this just keeps going on and on. You've been recognized as a 2020 RIS Media Real Estate Influencer, a 2021 RIS Media Real Estate Newsmaker, Forward Thinker, and awarded as a 2022 RIS Media Real Estate Newsmaker, The Crusader. You're a wife, a mother of 2 teenagers, a rescue pup named Buddy. Welcome.
Yep.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's amazing. I can't believe I actually cut off our guest within 1 second of being on the sort of camera with us today. And in my mind, I was thinking the first time I saw you was at Inman this year in person. And I was up in the media gallery. So way up high where all the sound techs are. And I had this huge overview, like, you could see 1,000 people, and then the stage is lit up and it was all bright red this year, just like it was so crisp, so clean. And you were there just saying it, and everyone was, glued to it. It was quiet. And I was just, I had a moment there where I was like, wow, like I'm in a real special place right now. And I didn't move for 10 minutes. So anyway, thank you. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Wow.
So tell us about it. Tell us about Inman. That was sort of that was our first in-person, big deal, no holds barred conference. How did it feel to get back to it?
Oh yeah, I mean, speaking on the Inman stage and being a part of that community is really, really inspiring. It's, very community oriented. It's so, I mean, that's where I met Matt, actually, how we became friends is through actually face-to-face met and became friends was through Inman events. And they've embraced me. I feel like I'm one of the new kids at Inman compared to a lot of the people that are involved in that community, and they've just embraced me like a family member. And so it's been really good because I've always been a contributor at heart. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a teacher. My mom said, no, they don't make any money. So that's how that's a part of my story of how I ended up in law school. But yeah, I love this. I get very nervous, like I think most people do, but it's a place where I get to grow and learn and become better. And I'm really moved by those opportunities. That's what I really enjoy, is like doing things that make me sick to my stomach, or like they're hard, they're difficult, they're challenging, they're tough, and then doing it and conquering it and moving forward. Like I get a high off of that, to be honest.
That's cool.
So we watched you were in an interview with Adam Contos, and you referred to a lot of stuff in there. You started in the business part-time, which,
No.
not many people can say that they did. No, you didn't?
No, I was actually, what happened was so my husband and I had our own law firm. I decided to get my license thinking I could do it part-time. Within 30 days, I went to every training my brokerage offered at that time. And at the end of the 30 days, I just did the training for 30 days. I didn't try and sell any houses. I just wanted to learn. I realized like, this is not a part-time job. This is a full-time gig. And I literally went back to my husband that day and said, I'm not taking any more clients. I will manage what I have. The nice thing, I was doing bankruptcies back then. Those have a short shelf life. Like they don't last like years or a long time. So, and I immediately within first 30 days took 2 listings and like went full-time real estate right away. Like I basically quit my job. My husband took him like, I don't know, 7 years to forgive me. Like he was really mad that I abandoned him, but it worked out in the end. And now he's
You can
working.
get discharged from a divorce faster than that. Jeez.
Right. I know. I'm lucky he didn't leave me.
But that was like, even that takes a lot of courage, guts. Right? Like what,
Yeah.
can you like dive into that a little bit? Like that must have been a decision that was weighed on your mind a lot.
So interestingly enough, I would say something I've learned about myself. I think really I've learned the most about myself through real estate, right? I mean, when you learn about personality profiling and sales skills and, just all the different things that we get exposed to, marketing, leadership. I mean, our industry is like really big, right? The opportunity is really huge and great. And it's so it makes it very different than like other industries and careers, right? And so for me, I never actually wanted to be a lawyer. My mom said JD, MD, PhD, pick one. I ended up with a JD, met my husband, I met him and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to school. I want to get a PhD because I wanted to be a professor at this point. And he's like, no, you have student loan debt. You need to like work. So, so I start practicing law and doing all that, and I was good, but I didn't love it. It wasn't my passion. And so when I discovered real estate, I actually found a passion and I fell in love and I like with what we do. And I would tell people, because I went straight in as a listing agent. I don't think I worked with buyers probably for my first 12 to 18 months. I just, it was a short sale market here. So it was like the skill set was very similar to a skill set I needed to run my law practice. Because, it's eat what you kill. If you don't kill, you don't eat. So there's a lot of like synergies there. And so when I discovered how much I love this, it didn't feel like work because it just felt like something I was supposed to be doing, right? I was helping people. I was closing the circle in their lives on like something that was like really difficult. Like maybe they had filed bankruptcy, they were getting a divorce, they had to short sell their home, all of that. And I was able to close that circle for them and bring that like peace, that closure to like a challenging time in their life, right? So that felt really good. And I worked a ton.
So law career, legal career, and then, you find a career night, you have a friend that's in real estate, you see an ad. I always wonder what's that spark? Where does that come from?
So none of those things. Actually, what happened was my husband and I had bought in a couple of homes at this point. Like we had bought our first home, then the market crash happened, so we couldn't sell it. So we bought another home because our family was growing, and so we rented out the first home. We had a second home, and looking for the second home, I used to say like, oh, I love looking at houses, and really I think I just love looking at new construction. And then I end up getting into real estate because I thought like, oh, I like looking at houses. I like that process. I thought I would go in, I think as a buyer's agent, just a lot of ignorance there. I always say I was very naive for how smart I am. I ended up getting a license just for fun. I thought, hey, I'm a lawyer. I'll do 3 or 4 deals a year. People will hire me naturally because I'm a lawyer, and all the foolish things. Very, very naive. Like I said, thought I could do it part-time, all of that.
So now I don't know what I listened to. So I feel like everything I thought I was prepped for is possibly going to be wrong. I'm pretty confident now that you mentioned that you got into the business with an ego.
I'm sure everybody does. I think everybody does. I think, we all think we know more than we do. And I look back now and I think how naive I was, how foolish I was, that whole ego thing I just described of like, hey, they'll hire me because I'm a lawyer. I mean, that comes from a place of ego. I've much since calmed all of that down. I know much better now. And so, yeah, but I fell in love with this business and the people I get to meet and work with. It's been awesome.
You're not giving yourself enough credit, because I think when you started, you might have had an ego and said, I'm going to be great at this. And if I'd said to you, you'll have 3 offices, 50 staff, or 50 realtors under you, and a bunch of other things, you would have said no to me. So, right? It's amazing how that sort of comes together, and you overestimate what you can do in a short amount of time, and you really underestimate what you do in a big amount of time.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and so flash forward a few years, you became a broker in 2014. Mm-hmm. Is that about right? Yeah. There's an interesting story here where you bought the brokerage before you became a broker. Yeah. I think this is, I don't know the story. I haven't heard it, but can you just kind of dive into it maybe quickly?
Yeah, sure. So what happened was I was doing my thing. I was a Keller Williams agent, had no intentions at this point of opening a brokerage. I had like a small team. It was myself. I was a listing agent. I had a buyer's agent and an assistant, and doing well and like happy, managing life and business and everything. And I get this sales call, and it's RE/MAX trying to sell me a franchise. And my assistant tells me, because even to this day, like I've always had like a barrier of entry. Like it's hard to get to me or my phone number. Like I hide it as best I can. So anyway, so call through the office line. They get to my assistant. She's like, yeah, they're trying to sell you a franchise or something. And I was like, that's a spam call. That's not for me. Who am like, again, in my head, I'm like, well, who am I? Why are you calling me? So I ignored it. I just ignored it. And then I guess they kept calling. And so finally I took the appointment because I was curious. And so I met with their sales team, and then they invited, and then what actually happened was I went to a Mike Ferry event because I was a Mike Ferry trained agent at this time. And I went to a Mike Ferry event in Jacksonville, which is a couple of hours from me. And I met another young woman, same age as me. She was a RE/MAX broker owner, and she had just bought her franchise like a year or two before me, and had some of her agents with her. And I just remember listening to her at the event, and I was impressed. And I was like, she sounds like me. Like, I feel like we have a lot of synergies and I want to meet her. So I went up to her in the bar that night at the hotel and introduced myself. And now, however many years later, we're still really, really good friends. And she's one of the reasons why I ended up taking that opportunity more seriously, because I got to pick her brain and like have a conversation with her about what that looked like. And then I went to R4, I met Dave Liniger, sat down with him one-on-one, got to ask like whatever I wanted and have a conversation with him. And I was impressed from that experience. And so then went home, my husband and I decided we're gonna buy a franchise and start a new business. And then I was like, oh crap, I gotta get a license to be able to do that. So I did that in like 2 weeks.
So did you look back at and maybe think about opening a market center or, other different franchises, or, it was RE/MAX all the way, they had the system for you?
So great question. I think I had like kind of sort of thought, oh, I could open a market center having been at KW. But then I thought, well, do I want something that big? Like, is that me? And that was kind of my original, honestly, limited belief that I couldn't do that. It was a limited belief at the end of the day. And so, sometimes I reflect back on those like, wow, I wonder how different things would have been if I started a different kind of franchise business or something like that. I still wish In-N-Out would come to the East Coast, because I would definitely buy it.
There's still a chance. There's still a chance.
I know. Come on, family.
You just have to go and meet. You just have to meet someone else in a bar. It's a very Inman thing to do. go meet someone else in a bar and you will get a franchise. I feel it. I feel it coming for you.
Oh, it's funny. I own like 3 or 4 franchises right now. So yes.
Do you want to expand on that? Do you want to give 5 seconds?
Sure. I own a mortgage company, an insurance company, and obviously the real estate franchise. So that's 3. And then I own a coaching company. I own the team, that my team is its own organization. And then my husband and I have a real estate investing company also.
Yeah,
so.
Good planning for sure.
Yeah.
How do you handle all that? That's a lot. Like,
yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, I think I fail daily. That's normal. I just don't quit. Remember, there's a difference between failure and quitting. That's number 1. Number 2, I have been really blessed with the people I've hired to help me with our organizations and to run them, like my Remax. I have a managing broker and he manages it 95% of the company he runs. I do very, very little. And that's a real blessing because that's just not even on my radar. Mortgage company, someone else runs that, it runs itself, and so things like that. Good people.
You've mentioned before the structures, systems, and staffing as being kind of the number 1 thing for helping you overcome challenges, right? And I think there's just so much value in hearing that, that it's obviously you're the brainchild, you're the center of everything, and nothing would happen without you, but there's a point where that kind of dissolves and these other people step forward, the systems that you've helped create step forward, these other things, right? But can you just dive into that real quick, about those 3 things?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge, I think, for most people is thinking you're the best and only person to do something. That's 2 problems. You think you're the best and you think you're the only one. So that's a limited belief. Number 2, it's that not documenting structure. Structure isn't in just what you do, it's the documentation of the process and making sure that you do that. And you have, we use Monday, right? We use Slack, we use, we have email systems, we have other different tools and systems that we use to help kind of bring structure and organization to our processes, and taking the time to actually build that out, right? And writing that out and building out the checklist, building out the to-do list, building out the who, the what, the when, the where, the how, and the why, so that way people behind you can pick up the mantle, right? When you try to lead a business all from here, that's not duplicatable. It's not scalable. It's not predictable. It's none of the things that you actually need for a highly functioning business, right? You need it to be duplicatable, scalable, predictable, expandable, right? So, all of that stuff. And so you need people, you need good people. And that was, I think, another one of my biggest lessons is, you've got to invest in people. And, I think real estate professionals, one of our biggest challenges is we try to keep all of our money, not realizing that the more you invest, the greater your ROI. And it's you got to really invest money. It's not spending, it's investing money so that you can make more money, right? And you can leverage your time and have more of your time back. And so I think sometimes real estate professionals are too limited in their view about those things. Whereas for me, I don't come at it from an agent perspective because I was a business owner first. We owned our law firm. So I'd already owned a business and done hiring, had done investing, had done, been the person that worked on the business and in the business at the same time. And so I brought that mindset, my husband did too, to these businesses. And that's really, I think, helped us to scale faster because we realized all those things.
You have that as a control thing, or as a financial thing. I always see it as a control thing. I find a lot of realtors want, if I didn't do it, it's not done right. It's not going to be to my standard. I feel like the limiting issue in many teams is, I don't have the ability to empower other people and wildly successful realtors, but not businesses. Right.
Yeah, agreed. I'm about to finish. I'm almost done listening to it. Is Good to Great. And, and another book while I'm talking to you guys that keeps coming to mind is The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. These are really good books to read as you're thinking about your organization, your business entity. And I think that's a mistake that we make sometimes is we don't think about our businesses as true businesses. we see ourselves as the business. And it's like, no, I have an organization. That is what I'm growing and building and expanding on. And, when hiring people, you don't hire people and expect them to be, where you need to motivate them and you need to discipline them. If you hire motivated people and disciplined people, right? If you hire right, you don't have to fire as quickly, right? And you get to get what you want out of the kind of people you're working with, right?
That goes back to the culture piece. I want to congratulate you, by the way, on your massive trivia night accomplishment and a top finishing place, which drives back into culture. And everyone might be tired of hearing about culture, but when we're in a room like this, it matters, because how you get to those places, empowering people, getting the most out of people and getting out of the way is like sort of the number one thing. Can you tell us a little bit about how how those things come to be? Are they deliberate? Are you really thinking about that, working on it day to day? And how does that fit into your business?
Yeah. So, I learned from one of my other coaches after Mike Ferry. I've had a few coaches across my career, and one of them is David Scott, who helped build who built momentum for Remax. And he would always coach me and talk to me about being intentional and proactive. And those are really key concepts that really resonated with me. And, one of the ways, and so I don't like using the word culture because I feel like it's a little overused as a word, that it almost starts to become less meaningful, right? So I use the word community, and I'm going to be intentional and proactive about the community I'm building. And the reason why I say community over culture is because I say, the community you identify with says more about you than the culture you identify with, right? So, I want to get down to who we are on the inside. Where are our core values and beliefs? Are they in alignment? And when you get intentional and proactive about those things, you create an environment that is promotive of what you're trying to achieve, right? So, for example, we are intentional about the activities we do. We try to do an activity every single month. That's just fun. That's not work related. We were just talking at our team meeting with the agents yesterday, what do we want to do next? We're going to do bowling. Are we going to do karaoke? Are we going to do...
And this is like team building.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the staff, the agents, I always invite spouses and partners and, or a guest if you want to bring one, and just let's come and just build relationship. And so we laugh together. When you laugh together and you play together, you stay together. So, and I encourage my agents to talk to each other outside the office and to lean on one another. And I don't allow my agents to refer business to one another with the exchange of money. It's no, just give it and you'll get it. Give freely, you'll receive freely. And we live in a world of abundance. So don't, there's no need to hold on to this one lead. There's no such thing, of good leads, bad leads, one lead, they're all just opportunities. And it's just about taking advantage of every opportunity you're given.
Hopefully you'll let me steal your community approach, because I think that's, I know the rest of it's overcooked, but the community feel, the way you talk about it, that's really powerful. I really like that.
Thank you.
So we've got 5 minutes left. We're going to try and nail through a few more questions quickly. Can you explain to us the difference between being present online and having an online presence? And then there's a thing here about a digital twin. So can you summarize all of that?
Oh, you went way back into the database. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I used to do a lot of videos on this stuff. So yeah, I mean, part of that is, whether you just have social media, pages or accounts versus and they're just living and they're existing versus, being present online. And having is about actually, engaging with your audiences, right? It's being there versus engaging, right, with others. And I think a lot of agents get stuck on I'm going to post, but they don't spend time actually building a relationship and touching other people and learning about them. And everyone likes to get the likes and the comments. Are you giving back as much as you're trying to or expecting to receive, I should say?
Can you repeat that? Because I think that was the answer, right? That's the secret.
Are you giving back as much as you expect to receive?
Yeah, you expect to receive 3,000, likes,
Yeah.
but are you giving those likes, right? And those comments? Are you actually interacting with someone, not just, that's really cool. And so now digital twin.
So this I learned from Tony. I always mess up how you say his last name. DiGiordano. So you guys know who I'm talking about. Giordano, and that's it. He wrote a book. And that's another good book. So I'm a reader. If you haven't, I already dropped 3 books already since we started chatting in the last 2 minutes. He wrote a book about social media, and he had some really good nuggets in there. And one of the nuggets that I learned from him was having that digital twin. Like, for example, I'm very private. Like, no one knows what's going on in my personal life ever. Like, I'm just not really open about that stuff. That's just my personality. I'm actually kind of introverted, believe it or not. And so having the digital twin allows me to have a presence or a mindset about my online community that is a mirror of my personal self, like my actual self, but is my best self. It's the self that doesn't comment on things that aren't relevant to the community I'm trying to serve, right? Like my politics are not relevant to my community. But where there are relevant factors, sharing that and being transparent and authentic, but also creating a presence that is worthy of the respect of its peers, right? If that makes sense.
I think there's a lot that we can take away from that, really, because we're in a really polarizing time. And so that's why I really wanted to dig in on that really quickly. Okay, so I got 2 questions left. And I got 2 minutes. One surrounds, you're from Tampa, and I didn't even mention that at the beginning, and I realized that after. So Tampa. Saw prices rise the most in all of the USA, 34.8% from March 2021 to March 2022. That's a pretty crazy stat where you're from. So we're now, what are we? September, end of September, almost October. So this is quite a bit of time from there. Obviously, I know your market's changed, just like everyone's market has changed. Can you talk a little bit about what you guys are doing about that? Can you kind of dig in a little bit about that? Because I think that it involves us too, right? And any agent can take away from that.
Yeah. So, one of the things that, we really, really, really focus on right now is, first it starts with the agent. And, my goal is to develop, an agent's mindset, skill set, and tool set. And so, you can't control what's happening in like the economy, or real estate industry as a whole. We have no control over that. We're not salespeople as it relates to selling houses. We're salespeople as it relates to selling a service. And so we can't make someone buy or sell a house, period, right? So we have no control over that. But what we can do is control the communication that we're having, the engagements that we're having with consumers and customers, and also the experience that they feel in working with us, right? So to me, it's really important to focus and laser in on an agent's mindset and skill set and tool set to help elevate that customer experience. And so, for example, just practically what we're doing is we are focusing on listings. I've got this like major campaign I started, and I'm investing a lot of money into it, but I feel like the ROI on it's going to be really, really, really awesome. It just needs time, right, to develop. And so now is still a really good time, I think, to invest. I'm making an investment. And I think the mistake a lot of agents make as they get uneasy about markets is they get fearful and reactionary as opposed to being proactive, right? And so to me, I'm trying to be proactive in a marketplace that, where most people feel unnerved or feel a little worried. I'm like, I feel fine. I feel confident because I have a plan. I feel like I've got a plan on how I'm going to manage this market. And so I'm executing on that plan. So it provides a confidence level that I think protects me from feeling constantly moved, this way and that way, especially by the media, which I don't actually watch any news. Like literally, I don't watch news. In fact, I didn't even know we were having a hurricane till someone posted in my Facebook group for my office, like in 3 days, there's gonna be a hurricane here. I was like, oh, there is? Okay. Oh, and my husband went surfing today. That was the other reason. So, but I have no clue what's happening in the world. It keeps my brain.
You just appear on the news. You don't
Yes.
consume it. You just appear on it. That's Okay. Last question. It's going to be quick because we're already past the time, and we acknowledge there's a cutoff time, and I'm rambling on. I'm a new agent, 2 months in the business. Real quick piece of advice.
Join a team.
Love it. Love
I would say join a team.
Love it.
A good team, a team that's built with structure and processes in place to help you like learn the skills you need to learn. That's going to, help you introduce you to the tools that you need to be able to succeed, like a CRM. And, I know that sounds basic for those of us that are especially team models, but most independent agents aren't using the systems and don't have the structure that they could or should have that would take their business to the next level, because that's not how they were introduced into the business in the first place. So
can I add on to that? Join a team and be willing to listen.
Trust the process.
Some people come into this business with egos, right? And I've got it, or I know it, or I'm going to do it, I'm going to crush it. And, there's people like you and Matt and others, great people that are willing to share if you're just willing to take it.
Yeah. Trust the process. If your team leader and your team's organized and structured and they have a process, like just trust it, and then confirm with the other team members that it works. I have team members all the time. It's like, new people come on, they're like, just do it. Trust us. It works,
That's amazing.
Kendall Bonner, thank you so much for joining us. Really, I think that was the best 30 minutes we've had. And, going through the process of watching all of your content and kind of diving deep, I fell in love with you even further because you're just such a great person, such a good human. And you know what you're doing, and you've got so much experience. And it's really cool to spend this time with you. Thank you for sharing so much with us. And we look to see you. We'll see you soon on the news or Inman or wherever soon.
Or both, or in the bar.
Right in the bar. Let's meet the bar. Thank you, Matt and Jody. You guys are amazing and awesome. And I actually feel very sorry for you that you went and sat through all that content. That's a lot of that's commitment. Oh. Thank you.
No, it was awesome.
For your time. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.